You're welcome to Business Daily on Trust TV. I'm your host, Chamun Dabeng. Let's talk numbers. We're starting off with the stock market as of 6 a.m. this morning. You're welcome back. My name is Chamo Dabeng. Well, yesterday we started off a discussion on Africa's first digital currency, the E-naira. Now, the coin was launched on the 25th of October 2021, making Nigeria one out of 5 countries with their very own digital currency. We also hit the streets to find out what Nigerians thought about the E-naira. Let's take a look at that again.
Right now, sometimes the education matters. Once you explain to people, because you don't just get into a business which you know nothing about, you understand? But when you're well informed, you now choose a path to where you belong, because no one wants to put in his money where he is not sure of, you understand? Now, I think in the world of crypto, it has been announced, we've been educated to some extent, you know, it's not everybody's market, you understand? But to an extent, I would say the crypto right now is working out. But if that same assignment that was done from the initiators of the crypto can be replicated in our own setting, the Nigerian whatever you say is E-naira, I think we'll buy the idea. But you know, it's a gradual process. You don't just force it into people, but as it evolves, people keep following.
And like the entire world is now presently like what can be described as a global village, we really believe that before the federal government come up with any policy, they should ensure that they put their houses in order to avoid what they call the invasion of Yahoo boys. As I know, the last time that they came up with this E-naira launching, it is pathetic that at this point of our level of enlightenment, Nigeria as a country or the government have not been able to put their houses in order.
Well, joining me in the studio today to continue the discussion on E-naira so far is political economist Adefolari Olamilekon. You're welcome to the show.
Good morning. And
finance expert Oji Adoga. You're welcome also to the show. All right. So far, the coin has garnered more than 488,000 downloads of the Speed wallet, which is the wallet that is needed to transact the E-naira. Now, about 78,000 people have downloaded the merchant wallet, and also 160 countries have actually enrolled also for the merchant. All right, so the CBN has continued to urge Nigerians to embrace the E-naira as though it was the normal, regular hard currency that we have out there. And they've been trying to highlight the many benefits of the E-naira. So let's take a look at those benefits. So far, the E-naira is expected to foster economic growth. It's expected to provide secure and cheaper diaspora remittance options. It's traceable. Therefore, you can't really commit fraud in that case because, well, they can find you. But anyway, there are so many other different benefits that the CBN has outlined or highlighted, for Nigerians to see that the E-naira can be very beneficial to the Nigerian populace and also its economy. Now, one of them that actually caught my eye was the fact that it said it provides financial financial inclusion by making financial services available to communities without enough banking. Now, without enough banking opportunities, taking a look at the way things are really when you come down to the rural areas and you take a look at people who actually own smartphones. How many of those people actually exist? Now, the E-naira has actually been called out to be an elitist coin. Do you agree with that call out?
To an extent, I will have to agree to that point, because in the sense that if CBN say they want to make it financially inclusive down to the rural communities, we're not talking about internet facilities at the rural communities. How many of those people in those rural communities are, using Android phone? Because to be able to access E-naira, you have to be on Android phone. Then even if you are if you don't have Android phone, are there cyber cafe, are there outposts that can serve such communities? And that's where we need to go from there. Because if they are not used to Android phone, there is no internet facilities, then there must be a provision that will engage and that will allow the people to have access and so by enjoy the inclusive financial.
Even if you make the E-naira wallet or any of the merchants' wallets function without the need of internet, it still doesn't really change the fact that we have so many people out there within those rural areas that do not own a smartphone. So how is it supposed to actually work? I understand when you talk about logistics, when you say, okay, fine, because you don't have banks around you, but then what happens if I don't have a tab or a laptop or any of these things to make the transaction easier? But let's hear from our finance.
That's the reason why I wanted to, really just come in there. You see, when you mentioned the fact that the E-naira seems to be an elitist system, I kind of tend to agree with that. And the reason is because when we talk about financially excluded people, we're talking about people who have very limited access, right, to services. The E-naira doesn't do so much for them. It does so much for us who are already financially included, right? Because one of the criteria, to get a tier 1 account is just a phone number, which is what we would like to regard as, an assistance for those who are financially excluded. And then for tier 2 accounts, you have to have a bank account, which means you have to have a BVN. And for tier 1 accounts, you can only transact as much as 20,000 naira. You see, that doesn't work, because we're assuming that people in that category can only transact so little. So it means that the financial inclusion itself, it's dead on arrival, because we are actually saying that without, all of those, resources, you really can't transact so much. You can only have a minimum balance of 200,000 naira, which actually means that you really can't do so much, right? So it does so much for people who are already financially included, but not so
much for the people in the rural area.
That financial inclusion story doesn't really hold any water for me.
So I'm really curious to see how that is actually going to work out, but I don't know. It's still. It's pretty much in progress.
Just as it's a work in progress. You know what? As we have been discussing right now, it's opportunity for CBN to review that particular system, because as far as I'm concerned, in the terms of memorandum of understanding with particular fintech that is helping them to carry out this particular system, they should be able to maybe at least within 2-3 years review all the challenges that comes with it. First is internet facilities. Then second is to have an outpost for people who don't have cyber cafe in such rural communities, so that they can get access to that particular system. Then it talks about limited financial inclusion in terms of how much we can be traded, how much we can get involved. That means we have to expand it, because the third category is about 500,000, the maximum. So can we move it to 10 million? The second category, can we move it to 5 million?
So it puts a limit on transactions.
Exactly. So we need to work on that, so that that financial inclusion can go more than that, and the people in the rural communities can also enjoy this financial inclusion.
Completely. All right, so let's move on to the recent crackdown by the Central Bank of Nigeria. Now, last week, CBN had ordered all Nigerian commercial banks to freeze the accounts of certain individuals for being involved in crypto peer-to-peer transactions. Now let's take a look at the excerpt of the circular that was put out by the CBN. Now it says, you are hereby directed to close accounts of underlisted bank customers and place the funds in the account in suspense accounts for engaging in cryptocurrency trading in contravention of CBN circular. Now this was put out on February 5th, 2021. Now there's been a renewed crackdown on cryptocurrency trading itself. Now, what do you think is the reason behind this reinvigorated, renewed crackdown on cryptocurrency?
One of the reasons why CBN brought out this particular crackdown was they said cryptocurrency as a means whereby access to illicit funding could come in. drug money could come in, terrorism financing could also come in, the money laundering could also be part of it. So that's I think those are the criteria they set out and said that's what they want to stop. And renewing that effort now means that maybe they have information that even with the first outline they gave, the first ban they gave, it wasn't working. Now they have to rework it and ask people to really stop it. And in Nigeria, we're already facing security challenges. We don't know much of how cryptocurrencies have gone into terrorism financing. They may have the information and we don't have it. But the key thing is this, from my own understanding of this cryptocurrency issue, I've always argued as a Pan-Africanist, Africans don't have much edge in controlling that system. If it crash, just like MMM, African people will lose their money, Nigerian people will lose it. So how do we go about?
Which is a big fear.
How do we go? Because one thing about Africans and third world countries, we easily jump into European innovations, but we don't have access to such innovation in terms of controlling it. So we need to begin to argue. We need to begin to negotiate on a stronger perspective that whatever innovation the Western world are bringing to financial inclusion or whatever, we should have a stake. So that when this comes up like cryptocurrency now, initially there was a particular documentary I watched on Bloomberg. People that were operating cryptocurrency don't come out physically to say they are the one doing it. But all of a sudden, between 2020 and now, people have started coming out. They are making millions of dollars and in it. Then hackers are also enjoying a field in cryptocurrency.
I'd like to come in there quickly, if you don't mind. One of the major reasons why I really think, honestly, coming from the finance perspective, I really think there's a crackdown, is because, see, the major revenue source for Nigeria is to sell petrol, fuel, through Forex. The second is remittances, which means, people sending dollars back home, people sending pounds back home. That's how Nigeria makes, the second very viable source of income. Cryptocurrency takes that away, because when you send money in crypto, it's untraceable. You can't tax it. You can't, leverage on it. You can't really collect any money by way of tax. And guess what? Nigeria is actually, the leader when it comes to P2P cryptocurrency transactions in Africa. Which means that if cryptocurrency takes hold of our economy, our very, very vibrant youth economy, it means that a lot of people would actually dump the Naira and transact peer-to-peer, because money is actually what we say it is, right? So, in essence, CBN is actually trying to nip that virus in the bud. And I call it a virus, but it is...
Why do you call it a virus?
To CBN, it is, because it is actually taking food out of their mouths, right? But in the real sense, what we must do is what other countries are doing. For example, we have the USDT. Now, what other countries are doing is to leverage on this particular trend. Now, what America did is to try to take their own currency and back it up with a crypto, so that other people who want to use the US currency on a crypto platform can use it. Now, we are ripe for a NGNT or an NGN crypto. We are ripe for it. Instead of trying to crack it down, just like you created the E-naira, create something that we can control for ourselves, rather than, because I can actually agree, if I was a CBN governor, I might think about it, oh my God, these crypto people are trying to take money out of my mouth. I mean, they're trying to ruin my source of income. You see, but it's actually it's a battle that the CBN would lose eventually, because this is a tide and it's going to sweep everything away.
Why do you say it's a battle that they will lose?
Because this is a tide, just like the internet. You see, the truth about the Western world and all of the things they bring to us is because is that when there is utility for something, people begin to use it. The reason why there is a very low adoption for the E-naira is because people are really not seeing the need for it. We talked about the E-naira just a minute ago. Can people use it? Of course, it's beneficial, but people are really transacting money very fast. People are really withdrawing money very fast using bank apps. GTB,
so what's the difference?
What is the difference? What extra problem does it solve for me? You see, if the E-naira came out with a landmark, problem solving, whatnot, everybody will jump on it. The E-naira is only free for the first 90 days. By January 1st is to go back
to be charged.
You'll be charged. So what exactly does it do? So that is the
same thing as making a bank transfer, because you do have your charges.
Exactly. So the issue here is what does crypto do differently for Nigerians, and why are we jumping on it? It's simply because it helps us, number one, avoid inflation. Cryptocurrency is highly inflationary. A lot of people invest in it. A lot of people lose money in it too. Do you understand? So it's kind of like a place for people to get hope, right? And it is also something that helps people escape, taxation and all of those things, which is what he was talking about. So we have to now look at these things. Of course, a lot of them are not really cool. There's a lot of scams, right? People just buy coins and they just die the next day. It's CBN's, it's in their jurisdiction to actually protect their country. However, what we must now do is to look at the trend, the tide that is coming, and jump on it before it's too late. You can't really fight, innovation. I keep saying that you can't really fight innovation, but what you can do is to twist it to suit your own systems.
But if they backed it with cryptocurrency, as you said, the cryptocurrency technology, would it really actually help? Would they be able to control what's going on with the coin?
So I don't think the question is control. I think the question is access, right? For example, when you allow people to, I keep saying this again, I say it on Twitter, if you ban it, you block it, right? But if you allow people to do it, you can even tax them. Because if you are registered legally, you can tax them for trading, which is another source of income. Now, if cryptocurrency is such a big deal in Nigeria already, then I think it is high time for the FIRS to register people legally to trade it and to tax them and control their activities as service providers. And this is what I'm talking about. For example, we've seen that Binance, a major cryptocurrency exchange platform, trades $76 billion every 24 hours. What if they were registered in your country, and what if they were paying tax, income tax?
It's beneficial to
your economy. So this is what I'm talking about. So these are the steps to go. So even if you don't have a Nigerian-backed cryptocurrency, you could actually allow people to do that and tax them. However, you must also look at what it does to your currency. And I think right now that the Naira's CBN rate of the Naira is actually a little bit, I wouldn't say fraudulent, but it's actually not realistic because, we're acting as if we're in a command economy where, the government just controls, it just say this is what it is and that's it. But the truth is, we should act like a free market economy where demand and supply actually dictates what happens. The market should be able to fix its prices, and 500 and something Naira is actually closer to the reality because that's what people are willing to pay. So for instance, the E-naira having that command face, in a digital, platform, kind of make it look like, we're not really serious, right? So people are actually looking at it like, well, it's just a Naira, which is it is, but, it doesn't really allow me to do so much. And with regards to cryptocurrency, I feel, honestly, that it's a losing battle. It's a battle that we're not going to really win if we're going to actually clamp down on it. It's already happening. People will actually decide what they want to do at the end of the day. You can only put laws so far. And the cryptocurrency itself is designed to help people escape those things. So by implication, you really can't regulate it. But what you can do is to try to allow people access it under your own jurisdiction, under your own laws, allow people to trade with it, tax them for doing that, and, engage them, in situations where they can actually bring their money back to you because it's already happening.
All right, so Mr. Adefolari, now, do you agree with what he's saying, that you need to have some sort of regulation on?
I would have said yes to what he is saying, but the issue is this, monetary capitalists, including IMF, World Bank, they have not yet accept cryptocurrency as international transaction that has value for any trading you are doing. If they have accepted, they would have come in with full force. The US, you mentioned, we are just trying to safeguard the economy. And at the end of the day, it's still US dollar you still use in transacting your cryptocurrency. But IMF is yet to settle down so that they can understand the importance of cryptocurrency. Laudable is good to transact business. But on the faulty side is that people escape taxation. He made mention of a very good, valuable point for Nigeria. Can we use E-naira to attach to cryptocurrency and get our money? Can we get all those companies operating E-naira so that they can, cryptocurrency come and register in Naira with CAC and Federal Land Revenue? It would have been easy like that. But at the end of the day, the technology behind cryptocurrency is still a question. Who is behind it? It's a blockchain technology. Control, and it's a decentralized particular one. So how are we going to recoup? And one thing about CBN work is that apart from making sure that the economy stands, apart from generating employment, apart from working on inflation, another thing, they must secure the value of the economy in terms of their currency and in terms of what me and you put in bank. They must secure it. So just like MMM that people lost their money, if not for the strong head of CBN, some people would have taken them to court. By the end of the day, everybody have to relax. But in terms of cryptocurrency, now, if CBN should allow such, it may even affect our banking system. So these are the precautionary measures that are taken. But the one thing we have discovered is that monetary capitalists, leading by IMF, they have not yet sanctioned cryptocurrency to be a globally recognized currency for the world, and that is why it is still at this point.
All right. Now, Nigeria is not actually the first country to have some sort of crackdown or put some sort of restrictions or a ban on cryptocurrency. As a matter of fact, China pretty much did the same thing in the middle of the year. And so far, it has caused a mass exodus of miners because a lot of them were Chinese. Now, looking at the situation that is going on right now with crackdowns from different countries and also China itself, do you feel like this is a sign that Nigerians should start to move from cryptocurrency and start to embrace the E-naira?
For me, they have to accept the E-naira, but the E-naira only have one thing to do, apart from which is payment, e-payment. But they have also drawn out one of the benefits of it. They also allow for diaspora remittance, another payment that can be made from it. But the issue is this: we have challenges, infrastructure challenge in terms of internet facilities, so that you can have that inclusive financial gains for the people. But if that is not put in place, there's no way people can achieve or CBN can achieve the same. But my own take is this on this E-naira. As much as I enjoyed, as much as I celebrate CBN for bringing it out, I want a review of that particular system, just as we have mentioned earlier, because reviewing it will make people to really get involved with it. And also, there has been the education they are giving out is at the suburb.
It's quite minimal.
It's minimum in the sense that it doesn't go down to the rural area. Have they translate all those word in terms of enlightenment into local language for people to understand? If they can do that, people in the rural area will also embrace it. What about traders in the market? In the rural market, in the local market, in the suburb market, are they aware of E-naira? Apart from those of us in the city centers, big supermarket that are aware of it. So they must go down to the grassroots to engage the people, to enlighten them, and to bring the knowledge of E-naira to them. If they do that, people will embrace it. And another thing is this: CBN using a foreign tech, and it's just one. Can they manipulate the system against Nigerian economy?
I think I would like to, just come in there. The company that actually developed the E-naira is called BitInc.
Exactly.
They're based in Barbados, and according to the CBN, there were about 100 bids, and those guys were chosen because they have, I don't know if this is true, but according to the website, they have actually developed an e-currency for a country in the what's called the islands, Caribbean islands before. They've done it before, so they've been tried and tested. And so actually, what is happening right now is that the BitInc has been registered in Nigeria. So they have a Nigerian subsidiary, which the CBN owns equity in. So the CBN actually bought into the Nigerian subsidiary. And that now means that the CBN owns voting rights, can actually decide how it works in Nigeria. However, one of the perks of the E-naira that has been advertised is that it is safe, it is fast, and it is free. We've debunked the free one. It's not free. It is safe. I don't know so much about that because the truth is it is on a blockchain, and blockchain is not foolproof, right? Just like every other technology, there is always a way to get around it. So the question about security of the E-naira would always be there. I mean, we know our culture as Nigerian people. We know how lax we can be with technology sometimes. I mean, this is the same country where rats actually ate up the presidential palace, the presidential villa, a place that is supposed to be the safest place in the country. This is in the same country where snakes eat 60 million naira. So we don't know about. So there's so much. So in terms of security, those are questions we still have to ask. Those are issues that we probably have to come back to later. And of course, with the E-naira being fast, I think my GTB to GTB transactions are equally as fast.
Okay, yeah, you can't put that on there. We're not calling names right now.
So.
Yes, so my final question for the day, now taking a look at this crackdown, do you feel like this is going to actually give Nigerians the push that they need to fully embrace the E-naira?
For me, as a way forward, for all the companies operating cryptocurrency and the Bitcoin, they should form a stakeholders and work with IMF and World Bank. Because if they do that, it will be globally accepted. Another thing is that free tax that normally happen, that they cannot tax people engaged in cryptocurrency, they have to break their G's. People have to pay tax.
True.
Nations have to incur revenue for whatever transaction they are going to get. Then the technology behind it, for me as a Pan-Africanist who love my African country and Nigeria, Africans must negotiate from the perspective whereby we must know everything about that technology. If it's possible, domicile it in Nigeria so that we can have control over it. That's my thing.
All right, so we have about 1 minute left, so
the answer to your question is no. It's not going to push people to do that.
Oh wow. Okay.
It's not going to people who actually use the E-naira, who the E-naira was designed for, just like he said, where who are they're tech savvy already. You can't you're not going to use E-naira if you can't use a mobile phone. You're not going to use E-naira if you can't read, right? 50% of Nigerians, according to the latest CBN report, they don't have a bank account. What that means is there's so much exclusion. And, how do they transact already? They go to POS to transfer money. They go to people who are literate to help them transfer money. So the E-naira is not designed for people who are not tech savvy, as it is right now. And that also means that if you clamp down on the cryptocurrency, it's not going to push people to go to the E-naira because it doesn't serve the same purpose. They're absolutely different things. Just like he mentioned, the E-naira is basically a wallet that is backed by the CBN.
All right. Unfortunately, we do not have enough time to continue the discussion. We have come to the end of our show for today, but we're still trying to watch out and see what happens. Hopefully, the results are going to be positive. The E-naira has only been out for about 3 weeks, so there's still a lot of time, or quite a bit of time for development. All right, so I would like to thank my guests in the studio. Thank you so much, Mr. OG and Mr. Adefolarin, for being a part of the show. And to all our viewers out there, thank you so much for watching. Do not forget to follow us on all our social media platforms. Just look us up at TrustTV on Facebook, on YouTube, and Instagram, and you definitely find us there. Once again, my name is Chamun Dabeng. Let's talk numbers.